All right, we're recording. And so you were just talking trash about my music abilities and how you
No,
could
I
show me
would.
up on the guitar.
What? I would never do that. Okay, everybody who's listening should know that Taylor is a bully. We should get that off our chest right off the bat. I'm the nice one. My name's Pete. I am originally from. I grew up in Alaska. I like the Midwest. Right now, I'm at the University of Tennessee studying social work, and I don't know what Taylor does. I think he just reads all the time.
What I do is I bully people who are
He
stupid.
bullies people,
That's
otherwise
right.
known as something or other. There's a profession for that, I'm sure.
Yes, I'm sure. Well, so I think it's also worth pointing out, Pete, that you're more than just getting a degree at the University of Tennessee at Knoxville. You have a lot of experience and a lot of different things.
Well, thanks. I was
You're
in the
welcome.
military for aircraft maintenance for 7 years, and I saw a lot of suffering. Honestly, a lot of suffering that I had no tools to deal with, and I was always more people oriented. So seeing that suffering was really hard. So I got out of aircraft maintenance, and I went to school, and I got a master's in social work, and then I got licensed. I started seeing people in hospice and community mental health. I opened
You
my own
started in
private
hospice?
hospice, yeah. So I was
Dude.
I worked in hospice for a while. So some really cool perspectives from end of life work, and then got back in the military now as a social worker. And the Air Force is now sending me to University of Tennessee, Knoxville, to get a PhD in social work. So I'll be coming out teaching social work and social work systems as it pertains to individuals. So probably trauma treatment, suicide prevention, substance abuse, stuff like that. I'll be using that PhD for the Air Force as they are paying for it. That's where I am right now.
How long were you in practice?
Probably 7 or 8 years. Yeah, and
Okay.
then I just came out of Minot Air Force Base in North Dakota, seeing a lot of trauma there. And it was just a workhorse of like day in day out seeing patients. What's your population you work with? Because you're also a therapist.
I am a therapist. I've been all kinds of therapists in my life. I started out in mental health in 2007. And I'll save the story for another time, but it kind of crazy. I was a waiter. Someone found me. It's a whole life-changing Hallmark movie type thing. But I got my master's degree in clinical existential psychology, which means that essentially I tell people I have a master's degree in applied philosophy. Like I've been trained in diagnostics and in all the everything, but my focus was very much on what it is to sit with a person who is suffering and to see them as people as opposed to learning hardcore modalities or learning hardcore interventional tactics. Or so I've been seeing people as a therapist since 2012. September 2012 was the first time I saw somebody, but that was during my practicum in my grad school program. My first big boy job out of school was September 2013, and that was in Boston. And I was in Boston while my wife got her master's degree in journalism, and then we moved back to Seattle, and I opened my private practice there. And I've essentially been in private practice since 2015. First in Seattle and now in Round Rock, which is just north of Austin.
Were you pretty eclectic in your population and diagnosis, or did you focus on a certain population?
I initially thought that what I do is start out with little kids because there's always a need for kids to have therapists. And as a male in therapy, like there's not a ton of men who work in therapy. So being a man who saw kids was kind of a unique thing. I learned pretty quickly that was not my favorite thing in the world because parents are just the worst sometimes. Like they'll come in and they'll say, my kid is fighting with me all the time. They never do what I say. I'm like, cool. So what are you willing to do to change? Like, no. Fix the kid. Like, this is not a McDonald's, dude. Like, you don't come in and say, I'll take a well-behaved 16-year-old. Thank you so much. Hold the pickles. It just doesn't work like that.
On behalf of all parents everywhere, I think it should be that way.
It should be. Sure.
Yeah, because I'm a great parent. I was a great parent until I had kids anyway.
Today we're talking about friendship. And so friendship-wise, I guess first to answer the question, after working with kids, I moved towards working with adults, and I did a lot of tech worker work in Seattle. Right now, I work with mostly adults. I have a few like teenagers that I work with. Monday mornings I go to Apple and I work at Apple in their wellness center.
Cool.
So I mostly adults, high functioning individuals. I do a lot of trauma work as well. I think if I have a specialty, my jam is emotional regulation and expression and interpersonal dynamics. So how people talk to each other, how they talk about how they're feeling. My whole thing is like, what does it feel like to be you, and how can we put that into words to help other people understand and advocate for what you need? While also, I'm very pragmatic. Like, what's the problem? Let's solve the problem so we can increase your likelihood of finding success in what you're doing.
Social workers call that solution focused. Speaking of which, there was something that I wanted to bring up and maybe get your thoughts on.
Okie dokie.
Okay. Well, one of the thoughts was one of the questions that we had coming into this is why friendships are important. It's tracked through research that men especially lose friends in general. Like close friends, distant friends, whatever. Your friendship circle gets smaller as you get older. So that would make you think, well, then they must not be important, because heck, my dad had no friends and he was doing just fine. It was, let's see, there was a book written in 2014 that was called New Worlds of Friendship, the Early 20th Century. And it was a story about how friendship was essential, not just a nicety, not just like what we have now where we have comrades and we have coffee, but friendship in the early 1900s was seen as a bulwark of the community and of the individual because there was so much change. There was so much change in the 1900s that your friends could be made, they could grow weak, and you make new ones. And you can, unlike family, that you are all forging each other as you grow, friends are there to support, and they can be made and grown and made and made and made. And because in the 1900s, whether they came to America voluntarily or not, there was a lot of...
By the 1900s, I think we'd moved past the involuntary Americanization.
I would hope so, but we still have a lot of Irish here who are...
That's fair.
Yeah, kind of almost indentured servants, but you're not allowed to call them that. Coming into Savannah, Georgia, and Boston and stuff.
See, this is like I never would. Yeah, okay, keep going. Sorry.
So you have people coming here because it's their last straw or whatever, and all they have are friends. And so as we get more stable, and we've gone through 2 world wars since then, and we've entered into an area without major conflict for the longest period of time in our nation's history, I think our outlook on friendship is starting to change. And now we even ask the question, why are friends important? It's crazy to me that now there's a question, why are friends important? Because we've grown so far from the need, from that.
From the expressed need, an important distinction, not from the need, but from the expressed need, the understood need. Because certainly, like, I feel like I need friends, and I feel like I can function without friends, but I do still have a need. One time someone told me that everybody has the same needs, they just need different amounts, you know? So I think everybody does have a need for friends. Maybe not all the same amount. Like my dad is not, sorry, Dad. My dad does not make friends a lot, and I think he would agree with that, to the point where he is 70, turning 70 this year. 2 years ago, he made a friend, and everyone in the family was like, "Oh my gosh, Dad has a friend? What? He's calling someone on the phone to talk for fun? What?" But I think he always had the need for it, and he had stories about friends from his childhood. But to your point, as he grew up, they just didn't stick. And actually, talking about the need for friendships and wars and all these things, Pete, you're in a very interesting position because I know you grew up a military brat. Emphasis brat. You're just a real dour human being. You and I have known each other for 22 years, 23 years, almost 24 years. That's insane to me. Yeah. What has your experience of friendship been like?
I have the worst friends in the world. They're
Thanks.
horrible. Yeah. I'll just get that out of the way. My experience of friendship. You know, I've always told people this, that going through moving one place to the other, I had this fickle outlook on friends. Like I'm going to lose them. They'll get ripped away. I'll lose them. And I've had friends who were my best friends as sophomores in high school give me a hug, like a sincere, loving hug, and say, please don't please don't lose touch. And I didn't want to lose touch, but in the back of my mind, knowing, yeah, we're not gonna talk anymore. Like, this has happened a dozen times, and I know that we're gonna grow distant. And he grew up and lived where I was leaving. Like, he was from there. He's a local, and he's just like, please, like, we're best friends. Don't disconnect. And I was like, I'll try. With this pessimistic view of friendship. So when you say 23, almost 24 years, that's like throw confetti for me. That's a huge deal. I do not. I have usually a pretty fickle view of friendship because, actually, now that I think about it, my friendships that I have now are the ones I made in adulthood.
Really? So no childhood friends?
Yeah. I think about some of the other research I did talked about the different types of friendship, the friendships that change where when you're kids, you're more comrades. You're like buddies. And you can like find sticks together, and you're both interested in the same things, and you can share interests basically. And then as an adult, it's like shared difficulty, shared distress. You look back together on the crap that you both went through, and you can both, look at each other and you both know. That kind of friendship is way different than remember when we went down into the pond. We love that pond. Yeah. The friendship, I think the flavors are different.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I have longer friendships that I've had than you, Pete, and it's not you, it's me. Like my best friend, I've known him. There's pictures of us taking a bath as a kid together. Like, I don't even remember the picture being taken. I've known him forever. And I just have a lot of friends from all throughout my life. But I do think the ones that have been the most meaningful have been the ones that, if not started in adulthood, but have been maintained through adulthood. Like my best friends, the people that are my ride or dies right now, are all people that the experiences that we've had as adults has been the glue. Yep. Like former bandmates, my buddy Sean, who I was in a band with, who I would do anything for. My buddy Christian, who I met about the same time I met you. I'd do anything for you. I would do anything for you. Jihad, I would do anything for Jihad. But then I think too, like my best friend when I grew up was a kid named Lucas, who actually recently died of a meth overdose. They found him in a park, and I hadn't talked to Lucas in like 10 years. The last time I talked to him, it was pretty brief, but I had to write a thing for his funeral. And in writing the thing for the funeral, I really reflected on like who I am is so tied up to what I did with him as a kid. So the friendship still has that meaning for me, even if it wasn't maintained throughout the years. Still had the real value. Like the reason that like Beavis and Butthead still makes me laugh because of Lucas. He introduced me to Metallica. He introduced me to Guns N' Roses. First time I ever had a Coca-Cola in my life was with him. Memories of watching Labyrinth, and they're walking across the bog of stench or whatever, and every time they step on a rock, the rock farts. Like when we were teenagers, would watch that over and laugh so hard and just rewind it and watch it again. So like that friendship still has value even if it wasn't maintained. I think you're right. The different friendships, the different flavors, but I do like it. I like the old flavor. I like the new flavor. They both have value.
I guess from my perspective is I have not maintained old flavor friendships, like being stupid as a kid with somebody. Yeah, I remember the people I did that with. I have no idea where they are.
That's too bad.
Would you say so?
It is. I bet they miss you, Pete. You're an easy to miss guy. You look so uncomfortable when I said that.
Yes, there is. Oh, this goes well into the next question. Why is this difficult? I want to share a story that will make me seem like a creeper, and yet it was really important to me at the time. And I was wondering about this. So when I was deployed, I was in Afghanistan, and I was roomed up with another lieutenant, and he and I were on opposite shifts. So we were do what they like hot cots. So he would leave in the morning, and I would come back in the morning, and we would switch off. I was on night shifts. He was on day shifts.
He kept the cot warm and vice versa.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
There was a time I was so lonely. I think my wife and I had, distance is really hard when you're deployed. We had 2 kids at the time, and she's trying to ask me about parenting. And I didn't know. I'm a new father and like 2,000 miles away. What am I supposed to do? It was just so stressful, very stressful, and I was stressful at work, because you're in a war zone. You're actually getting combat pay. So I remember feeling so lonely there, because as an officer too, you're not supposed to fraternize with the enlisted. So I could have these talks with people, but I couldn't really have heart-to-heart talks unless it was the chief master sergeant, and he was not approachable really. So I wrote a note to my bunkmate because he was the closest thing I had to a friend, and it was a note that was just, looking back on it, I was desperate to connect, and it was something like, "Thanks for being a good roommate. You always make the bunk before I leave or when I come back, and I really appreciate that. If there's anything I can do for you, let me know. You're an awesome roommate." And I deliberated whether to write that because he was so gruff and so crass and like back and forth, like kind of like we are but worse. And I was like, should I write this note? I decided to do it just because, to be, I don't know, honest to myself.
And just out of curiosity, what were you afraid of happening if you like told this guy that he meant something to you?
Oh, because he'd take it into work and be like, "Look what this guy wrote me," and it would just be very socially awkward because it would be that happened. That particular thing didn't happen, but people would bring stuff in from their home life and be like, "Ah, can you believe this effing blah 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 blah." So I was afraid of him kind of ruining my street cred. But I decided to write it anyway.
Straight gangster Pete over here.
Yeah, no, like my command presence is what they call it, or whatever it is.
Sure.
Nothing came of it. He didn't mention it at all. The note was gone when I got back. Nobody said anything to me. He didn't say anything to me. I didn't do it again, but I remember that feeling of complete awkwardness and hesitation about writing this, quote, loving note to my roommate and whether or not I should, and is it going to be so weird, it's going to make him uncomfortable. And when I did, absolutely nothing happened.
That makes me feel really sad for you, Pete. Like, I'm really sad and sorry to hear that.
Well, okay.
I'm going to make you so uncomfortable right now, Pete. I'm going to tell you why you're my friend. Specifically, what it is about you that has made me want to maintain contact with you through all these years. I don't even know if you remember doing this. So the context is, I met Pete. We were both missionaries together for our church, and when you're a mission, we were like the white shirt and tie missionaries with a little black name tag. And I don't know if many people know this, but when you go on a mission like that, you are put into a place called the Missionary Training Center. And that's where you go to learn doctrinal things. You learn the basics of being a missionary. You learn languages. And I had to learn Russian, and Pete was learning Estonian, which to this day still sounds like choking Ewok to me. It just sounds like, but like,
beautiful language.
Yes, it is actually. It's very flowing. Anyway, that's not the point. The point is, I, as a kid, had always been extremely homesick everywhere I went. Like, I would go to summer camp as a kid and just sob every night because I just wanted to be at home so bad. And I knew going into the MTC, the Missionary Training Center, that it would be hard for me, especially knowing I wasn't going to be home for 2 years. I wasn't going to see my family for 2 years. I had a phone call to look forward to every Mother's Day and every Christmas, and that's it. And I just had zero self-confidence. I think no self-confidence. I thought that I was just going to fail miserably. It was going to be bad. So I remember getting there, and they have you in districts, and there's, a bunch of different missionaries in one group are called a district. And Pete happened to be down the hall from me, right? I forget how many doors. You were a few doors down. Mm-hmm. You'd been in the MTC a little bit longer than me, not by much. And I got there, and everyone was like, "Oh my goodness, I'm so excited to be here. I feel the Spirit of the Lord telling me all these great." I'm like, "What is going on? How are you all so happy to be here? This is horrifying."
Terrifying.
None of us know each other. We have no idea what's going to. All I know is that in 3 months, I'm going to be in the former Soviet Union, talking in a language I cannot say a single word in, telling people that Jesus cares about them. What have I done? And I remember when you get there, they put sheets on your bed. Like, they don't even make the bed for you. They just put the sheets on the bed. And so I got there, and everyone's shaking hands, and I'm like, "Oh, cool, I got to go to the bathroom." And I went into the bathroom, sat down on the toilet with my, and just sobbed. I just cried so hard. I was so scared. And I remember I came back into my room and I saw you putting my sheets on my bed. And I said, what are you doing? And he said, oh, you haven't put the sheets on your bed yet, so I thought I'd do it for you. I said, why? And he said, well, because it's nice to have sheets on your bed, I guess. I don't know. And like, I felt not alone in that moment. And to say that it meant the world to me is kind of to undercut it, Pete. Like, that little act of service has lived in my brain rent free for the last 24, 25 years. It meant everything to me. And it really set the stage for everything. And for the next 2 years, you know, I didn't spend the entire time in my mission in Estonia. I was in Latvia and Lithuania and stuff. We did finish our missions together, though. And one of my favorite mission experiences is our last time we were knocking on doors and we're like, screw this, dude. Let's just go have fun. And we got an old tire and slid down that hill.
We found a garbage tire in an alleyway and we slid it down some hill. So we went to the Baltic mission way up north, so there's snow. Yeah. I do remember the last time we were together, they put us together as companions for a night. And we slid down a hill, just taking it easy for the last night of our mission.
I have a picture in my thing of me going down that hill that you took. It's one of my favorite pictures. And I'll say too, like, beyond just like the nicety and I have a really lovely memory of your capacity to get hit in the nuts with baseballs. Oh, I don't know if you remember that. You had the worst luck in the world. Like, there was a guy in our hall who was a baseball player in college, and so he would keep his arm hot. So he'd throw balls down the thing, and Pete would catch it in the nuts, almost like this guy was aiming at him. And one of my favorite things was he threw the one ball down, and he went, "I'm safe." And you walked out, and you didn't know he had another one that he threw out as soon as you put your leg out, and it went
straight into me,
straight into you.
I want to know why is it that there is a underlying homophobia, I guess, when it comes to sharing affection between men.
I know. What's up with that?
If there's something,
is this your way of saying that you feel like you're feeling some homophobia rising in you because I just professed my love for you?
No. I'm fine with that. I love you too. There's a point
buddy.
where. I
just
think
fishing
the
for
awkwardness,
love here.
Yeah, that there's a point of awkwardness, and it might be why there's a decline in male friendships in general.
Totally.
One of the studies from 2021 used survey data between 2019 and 2021, marked a 25% decrease in having a, quote, best friend between men. So a single best friend, there used to be 75% of men surveyed in 1991 said, I have a best friend, and only 50% said that in 2021. Now, granted, 2021 was in the middle of COVID-19, which is impacting a lot of friends, impacting a lot of friendships. But still, you'd be able to say you had a best friend. But that decrease in having a best friend within 3 years might be because of our perceptions of friendship among men. Are you able to cry with a friend, with a male friend? Are you able to tell a male friend, I love you? Are you not just to talk about beer and sex with your friend, but to talk about the meaning of life and existential crises that you've had with a friend? What do you define as a best friend? If a survey was going to ask you, what is a best friend? Because I don't think they clarified.
That's an interesting thought. I mean, if different people have different definitions of what a best friend is. I think about my best friend. His name is Jihad. I've known him, again, like my whole life. I think he's my best friend because I feel like more than almost anybody else, I feel like he knows me, like really gets me, which is great and terrible at the same time because like he just sees through all my garbage immediately. Part of it, though, that I think is really important in having a best friend, and maybe this is where it kind of breaks down for some people, is like I feel like I know him probably better than just about maybe his wife. And I feel weird saying the word maybe. I think Kate probably knows him better than I do, but not by much. Like, I know that man. I know him really, really well. And there's something to be said for there's no faking it with him. I don't need to pretend ever. I don't need it to be, it just is. He's just the person I've known the longest and that I know the deepest who I'm not currently sleeping with. You know,
That's what it takes.
we were in Cub Scouts, or not Cub Scouts, we were in Boy Scouts together. He was always my tent partner. We have in jokes from back in the day. We have coded language that we use to show stuff.
Do you think at a certain point you select your best friend, or is it a matter of like, well, he's top on the list. He's been through all these things more than anyone else. So
That's a great question. You know, honestly, I think love is a choice. Love is an action verb, and I love Jihad. I love him to death, and we certainly have had rough patches in the 40-something years we've known each other, 30 that I can name, 30 years, not 30 problems, the 30 years that we've been friends. There have been moments when it's been hard, but it's always a choice to reach out. It's always a choice to strengthen and build it. And so, yeah, I think it is a choice. I have made a choice that I will prioritize that relationship. In fact, the way he and I stay close, we're both Lakers fans. We both grew up in Los Angeles, and so our goal is to see the Lakers play in every basketball arena in America. And we're 10 deep, I think. We've been doing this for 8 years, I think.
Oh, that's cool.
So every year the schedule comes out, and every year we go and see the Lakers play somewhere new, and it's great. We get to explore a new town. We sometimes, if it's close to where I live or where he lives, we'll drive to the arena together and we'll have a chance to talk. Like we drove to New Orleans. I live, just outside of Austin. It's an 8-hour drive. Great conversation the whole way there and back. No dead moments. Went to Oklahoma City this last season. Saw a great game. I was actually going to mention this. This is one of the things that I wanted to bring up. The idea of, you mentioned the latent homosexuality and the fear of like sexual whatever tension finding its way into the relationship. One of the most meaningful interactions I've had with my buddy in the last year, we were driving back from Oklahoma and we were listening to music, and he looked at me and he reached down, he put his hand on my leg, on my thigh. Like, he wasn't like being weird or gross about it. Like he just put his hand on my thigh and he squeezed it and he said, this means a lot to me. And like that feeling of contact when he touched me was in my head for 3 days. Not in a like, oh my goodness, my soul has awakened, but just in a like, my friend touched me and told me he cared about me. It meant so much to me. It shocked me how much it meant to me.
Physical touch and masculine affection.
Yeah. And genuine, unfettered, like there was no trying to soften. There was no joking about it. It was, I love you. Let me touch you and convey that love physically without having it be sexual. It was so meaningful.
So for anybody listening who's thinks that we've gone off the deep end, I think that in a day-to-day interaction, we're talking about Taylor's most intimate moments with his absolute best friend. But if
who I see twice a year, maybe.
Twice a year, yeah. So if you're talking day-to-day interactions with an average friend, it's not a matter of looking them in the eyes and giving them a double-handed handshake and saying, "You
putting your hand on their cheek."
Your hand on their cheek. Yes, no. I think this highlights basically the need that we have for physical attention. Whether it's a man. I know some people aren't touchers, aren't huggers, but that just means that they need less of it. It doesn't mean that they are absolutely aphysical.
Yeah. No, there's a dude I go to church with who he sits behind me during the main, we call it sacrament meeting, but I think the main session, right? Mm-hmm. He sits behind me in the pew behind me, and he'll come up behind me and he has thumbs made out of iron rods, and he'll just shove them into my lats and give me a massage, and it hurts, but I'm always like kind of grateful for the interaction because it feels like he cares. I try and when I see friends, I tell them I love them every time. Like, I love you, man. Love you, brother. Especially my close friends, because I want them to know it's really important to me that my friends know that I care about them. And like, I'm not having friends grabbing my thigh a whole lot, but like a handshake, like bring it in for like a bump or like a hug or quick touches, just the best. And so cementing as a way of showing that I matter to them and they matter to me. Like, there's a vulnerability. Like, people say that the reason handshakes are so important is because you're both opening your palm and giving it to the person, basically saying, you could really hurt me right now, but I trust you not to.
Yeah. I think the definition of vulnerability, as I work with my patients, the definition of vulnerability is the ability to get hurt. You are able to get hurt. So if you have another man come up, and even if he, like, puts his hand on your shoulder, and he's like, man, it's good to see you, his hand on your shoulder in any other context could have been seen as an aggressive move. You could brush it off, you could move away, you could say, get away from me. But if you accept it and you make yourself vulnerable, that's a true connection. That is something everybody
Absolutely.
needs.
I like that definition. I'm going to sprinkle my own definition on top of it, and with our powers combined, we can have a better one, I think.
Okay, go for it.
I tell people that vulnerability is weakness that is necessary to function. And I think, like, in terms of like a suit of armor, if I give you a suit of armor with no vulnerability, it sounds good until you realize it's a block of metal you can't move in, because the vulnerabilities are the joints, they're the things that move. And when you phrase it that way, like, well, yeah, I'd like my armor to have some built-in vulnerabilities because it lets me look around. I can move my head. Yes, something can hit the sliding point of the plates and get in, but like it also increases my ability to get away from danger. Relationships are like two people leaning against each other, and their weight against each other supports something. Like it's a weakness. It can be exploited, and you can be hurt by it. But it's without that vulnerability, without that weakness, it cannot function the way it needs to.
Do you think American society in general rejects weakness in men? Like, do you think? I don't know if it's gotten worse. I honestly think men are more apt to be vulnerable now than they were in the 50s.
I agree.
That's my opinion.
I don't know that I would say. I don't know. I feel like you hear a lot more men talking about wanting to be vulnerable and wanting to be emotionally open. I think that we're kind of trying to figure it out as we go along. You and I cheated, Pete. We went to school for it. We know how to do it professionally. I think the average man wants to be vulnerable, but also doesn't like the idea of weakness. And that's why I think it's an important distinction that weakness and vulnerability are not the same thing, even though they're made of very similar things. It's kind of like how tacos and burritos are made of similar things, but they're not the same at all. I think it feels to me like people are moving away, men in particular, moving away from being afraid of that kind of vulnerability. But I also feel like they don't know how to do it, and so they kind of
yes, exactly. Yeah. I'm going to read to you. Of course, I'm the guy with all the You're
papers. So excited with the studies.
I'm so sorry. Yeah, it's just it goes into perfectly what you're talking about. All right, so this is March 2023 in it's in the journal called Population Health. Using 2003 to 2020 American Time Use Survey, the study finds that nationally, social isolation increased. Social engagement with family, friends, and others, like roommates, neighbors, blah, 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 decreased. So social engagement decreased, social isolation increased. And companionship, shared leisure, and recreation decreased. Analysis shows that the pandemic exacerbated upward trends in social isolation and downward trends in non-household social engagement. However, household family social engagement and companionship show signs of progressive decline years prior to the pandemic. Yeah, at a pace.
So does that mean that the pandemic forced families to actually care about each other again? Is that?
No, it was engagement was showing signs of progressive decline prior to the pandemic. So
but then the pandemic happened and shoved everything back together?
No, nothing changed.
Oh.
It was going down before the pandemic. So what they're saying is, the study was done in 2023. The pandemic is seen as like this huge social isolating factor, but these trends were noticed before the pandemic.
Oh.
So what you were saying was that men are more willing to be vulnerable since the 50s. We're not required by gender roles maybe as much to be stoic and be on our silver horse as much, and yet we don't know how to be the other way. We don't know how. Yeah. Our social isolation is increasing. Our engagement outside of our family is decreasing. That same study from 2021 talked about friends in general since 2019. People with 10 or more friends in 1990, 33% had 10 or more good friends they could list off really fast. 33. And in 2021, 13% of people could list off 10 or more friends. So it went from 33% down to 10%. Social engagement outside of your family is decreasing. And it may not be the fist bumps and the lat massages that do it. That just might be it. Like
the lat massage. He touched my thigh.
That counts as social engagement. No.
It wasn't like oil and he's like getting into the knots or anything. But actually, I kind of have a thought about this though, and I feel like, I feel like you've seen this and can agree with it or disagree, and you're wrong and I hate you. I think that the more that was a joke, by the way. You look so sad when I said that.
I'm logging off.
I'm out. I feel like, particularly with the social media landscape being what it is, there's so much emphasis on things have to be perfect, and if they're not perfect, you'll be picked apart. And when it comes to vulnerability, which is by definition a lack of perfection because there's a weakness built into it.
Ooh, yeah.
I'm going to practice being imperfect in front of the people I care about the most so they can judge me for it. I can see that not going over very well.
I didn't look into this, but you're making me think about how social media has played into our perceptions of connecting. If we share what's so perfect. Yeah, I should have looked up some more studies on that, but there's a book, I know of a book called Together Alone, and it's about how social isolation has increased because of digital involvement. Like the iPhone came out in 2001 or something like that. Mm-hmm. And since that time, how we have changed as a society, sharing only the best parts of our lives with others and what that does to us.
Yeah, it's a real problem. And what it does is it generates this idea. This is my experience. I have no research to back it up, but I think, again, this is kind of like where you and I play to our strengths, which is me flying by the seat of my pants and you having the data to back it up. But I feel like I lost my train of thought. What did you say?
I said that we only share what's perfect. We don't share our vulnerabilities on social media. We only share what is absolutely the best. And that drives us apart because, honestly, I don't want to talk to somebody who just went to Cancun, even though they're a good friend of mine and they had.
You leave Ted Cruz out of this.
They just had this amazing week. Heck, I don't want to talk to anybody who went to Atlanta to see a Dodgers game, or whatever the sports game that you watch with balls.
Oh, sports game! I love sports game.
Yeah, whatever you watch down there.
Basketball.
Yeah, where they make touchdowns. Anyway,
but I feel like what a loss to not be able to celebrate. Maybe this is an interesting thing to consider too, is if we feel like our friends are better than us, we don't want to be around them. I feel like what a loss, because you're missing out on a chance to experience joy with somebody too. Like Jihad, another great example of this. Jihad travels all over the world all the time, and I do not. And I do get a little jealous sometimes, but mostly I wish I could be there, not in a where does he get off going kind of way, And so his experiences, he shares them with me sometimes when we talk, and it's just like, oh, that sounds really cool. I would love to experience that too. It's like an aspirational jealousy.
Bit of humility then, to assume that your friend isn't bragging on Facebook in order to brag. They're doing it because they want to share.
So here's, I think the difference is I don't talk to friends on Facebook or Instagram ever. That's not true. I send people stupid reels on Instagram that make me laugh.
No, I mean seeing their thing, seeing what they're doing in life. If you see what someone's doing on life, I'm naturally, I think, a prideful person. So if I see somebody on Facebook or Instagram or whatever who is doing something amazing, my first reaction is, gosh, I need to do better.
Really?
They're doing all these things. It should have been me. I should have done this thing. And
Pete.
I know, it's exhausting. When somebody else gets an award at work, I'm like, gosh dang it, what did I do? What did I do wrong? I need to fix this. And I have a coworker who would be like, oh my gosh, hey, and he'd call him up and be like, hey, I just saw this, congrats. No one deserves it better. That's awesome. And I'm like, wow, I need to fix myself. That was my first inclination that I have the bad reaction to this stuff. So I think it does take, at least in my case, it takes a lot of humility when someone else is having fun and broadcasting it.
Sure.
To say, wow, it looks like you're having fun.
Here's a little side salad for you, Pete.
Yeah.
I'm a big believer in the power of words, a big believer. And not in if you say it, it'll happen. That stuff drives me nuts.
Not manifesting? Right? You don't manifest?
Yeah, people were like, oh, you just need to think about it. I'm like, oh, so all those starving kids in Africa just need to stop thinking about how hungry they are and they'll find food? What a load of garbage that is.
Solution-focused again.
Yeah. However, I will say that there's a word that you keep on using that I despise. And that word is should. You keep on saying, I should do this, I shouldn't do that. Yeah. And you're shoulding your pants, dude. There's should all over the place. Get the should out of your mouth. And the reason for that is because when you're saying should, what you're saying is I need to feel bad because. And that's literally, in this case, what you're saying. I should do better. translates directly to I need to feel bad because I didn't do better. No. Do you want to do better? You could do better if you wanted to, but like, do you need to? Otherwise, you're a bad person? I doubt it.
Well, I'm saying I know this is a problem. Like, trust me, I know me. So I'm working on it. But the point is that this inclination I have towards like the primal sense of me, like do better, could be what distances myself from my friends. What decreases my friendship base is because this competition that I feel with them. And if I feel like I'm losing, then it's a competition, which I didn't really think about until just now. How that seeing someone do better feels like a competition. It's not healthy.
Yeah, and just for the sake of pure openness and honesty, I have that too. I have struggled with that. Where like my friends who have done really well in life, sometimes I'm like, oh man, why aren't I doing as well as them? But I think like that humility thing of like recognizing this is a me problem and not a them problem, is really useful. And I think you bring up an important thing too in male friendship, which is like the natural competitiveness.
Ooh, that is interesting.
Yeah, we're naturally we'll rib each other, we'll give each other a hard time over stupid things just because it's kind of fun to do, honestly. And it's like how you build camaraderie. Like I know you and I have not exactly built a relationship on making fun of each other, but there are moments where we'll say a little like a zing here or there, and it's never meant as anything bad, never comes across as anything bad. If anything, it feels more like a connection because like, oh, you see me. You see even the bad parts of me and you haven't rejected me. That's good to know.
So is that indicative of a healthy male relationship? Because we're dancing the line between being able to jab at each other and give playful insults and also honest, truthful, grab your thigh connections.
Well, I think they can both kind of exist in the same time and place with some intentionality. I think that ribbing somebody, right? I think it depends on how you can talk about it, right? Like if, for example, I was like, "Oh, Pete, good to see you. Nice to see you waxed your forehead today. It's looking extra shiny."
Yeah.
Like it does look very nice today, actually, by the way.
Yeah.
You're welcome. But if you had said to me after that, if you'd gone like, "Oh," and so actually, I'm kind of sensitive about that. I now have a choice. I can build a relationship, or I can reject the vulnerability. If I build the relationship, I go, "Oh, Pete, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to insult you. I thought it was just playful bantering. I will not make that joke again." And what that does is it takes the rupture, turns it into repair, and now you've got a solid bit of
Isn't this
strength.
Gottman couples?
Whoa.
So what Gottman, they're a man and a wife who studied couples therapy for a long time, but the Gottman technique talks about reaches for attention, like small micro vies for attention. If I say something like, if I'm reading the news and I say, "Man, Trump is off the deep end," you could do a reaction to that. That's just a small little comment, but you could either have a positive, negative, or neutral reaction to that. Positive, like, "Well, what do you mean?" and you connect with me. You could have neutral, which is you totally ignore me and you don't say anything, or negative, and you're like, "Will you shut up about Trump? You're always talking about him. Just keep it to yourself." That would be a negative reaction, a small little micro interaction. Couples that have stayed together for like years have like a 75% positive interactions. Their small micro interactions like 75% positive, which means 25% are negative or neutral, and they get over it. So what you're talking about between men is if you have a micro interaction, if I have a vie for attention and you say that, why would you say something like that? I then have a choice. How do I respond to that, negative, neutral, or positive?
Yeah. And I think that would be an interesting conversation on a different day if we were to talk about couples counseling and fighting, because I think I'm a big believer in fighting. I lean into the fight more often than not, which isn't to say I walk around like looking to punch people in the nutsack, but it is to say like if somebody is upset or somebody's having a big emotion, I look it straight in the eye and walk right towards it. It's not about being aggressive and trying to show that I can take control of the room. It's about there's discomfort here and I can look it in the eye, and if we can do that together, we can get past it. That's kind of like, your head is extra shiny today. That's discomfort for you. I don't like it anymore. Okay, I can now adjust, look it in the eye and go, this equals that. I don't want that, therefore I won't do this.
Well, then again, friendships take humility. Because if I could tell you that, like, dude, so the leader, so when I did go to church last week, the leader of our congregation, I swear I've been there for 2 weeks. He's seen me twice. Mm-hmm. He walks past me. I know his name. That's all I know about him. He rubs the top of my head and goes, so shiny, and laughs and walks back. Yeah. So there's this moment of like, what? And I'm like, what are you doing? He rubs the top of my head and goes, so shiny, and I'm sitting down, and I'm like, I don't know you at all. It was so strange.
Yeah, that's man. Like, there's some guy code for you. You never comment on that unless you know you've got to get past the initial stages at least.
I know. Yeah, exactly. So if Taylor walked past my head and goes, so shiny, he has already done that about a dozen times anyway through our friendship.
But I've earned it. Like, it's not like it's not like the first time I was like, oh, hey, what's up, Pete, you bald sack of garbage? Like, no. Like no. I watched your hair recede in horror at what your life had become with like the rest of us.
Oh my gosh, you were there with me from the last from head of hair to last wispies. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Oh yeah,
I've seen it all, baby.
Pete's bald.
So we got the bald and the beard. We are both characterized by our hair. Yeah. I'm sure.
Shoot, I forgot where I was going with it. Humility. It has to take humility.
There you go.
So, for you to correct and to say, like, oh, shoot, sorry, dude, I thought we were somewhere else with this. Like, and you readjust. That means you accept, I was wrong, I stepped too far, my problem. And that takes a healthy ego, takes humility on your part. You can be insulted and not insult yourself afterwards.
Which I think is really important to point out. That's really hard to do. And
yes.
I'm not the perfect example of this. I definitely get my feelings hurt sometimes and just kind of stew on it.
But I don't know if people can handle that. Like the guy who rubbed my head, and we don't know each other. I'm like, what are you doing? Don't do that. Then he would come back easily and be like, hey, grow thicker skin. Like he wouldn't. We don't have the relationship built for him to be. He might be humble about it, maybe.
Probably not.
Anyway.
I mean, talk about me having faith in mankind. I doubt he would. But that's not the point. I do think, though, that like if he does it a second time, you are now in the space where you can be like, hey, dude, like, you don't know me like that.
Oh, I think me shrugging, putting my hands up and looking back at him, like shrinking away with a confused look, I think corrected him enough. Like he kind of like grinned and scampered off kind of thing. It was such a weird interaction.
I think that highlights one of the things about being a man that's kind of weird is like there's so much codified expression or like physicalized expression of thoughts that is never put into words. Like the turnaround, like the shoulder shrug, the backing away, and the smile, and the walking away could be taken in so many different ways. But you and I both know that he was like, "Oh crap, okay, gotta go bye."
Yes, yeah, exactly. If someone else observing that, not knowing like why did the leader of the congregation just run away from Pete? What did Pete do?
Yeah, or like what even just happened? Like there's so much about being a man is trying to figure out how to say stuff without actually having to say it, which I think is a real shame.
Sign language.
Yeah, but not like hand sign language. More like I'm indicating with my body. Body language. We should coin that phrase, Pete. No one's ever said it before. Body language.
Oh, body language.
Nailed it.
Oh man, Taylor, starting the first podcast episode.
That's right. Just taking over the world with new
phrases.
Language.
That's right.
Could we be any better at this?
Hijacking the narrative.
Pete, I'm glad we're friends.
Yeah, so am I. I am very happy to be your friend, Taylor. I was trying to think of something clever to say, so there was an in there because I was trying to think of, try to be more intelligent. It came off as more Neanderthalish. So here I am trying to explain it.
I thought the was you trying to find a way to make fun of me. Like I thought you were trying to find a good insult to throw in there. Glad you're my friend, even though you are just the biggest disappointment I've ever seen in my life. I would have accepted that and gone, you were probably right, Pete.
So honestly, I can't call you a disappointment because I'm getting lost of who's who on this computer screen. I look at you and I think, why isn't my mouth moving? Oh, it's you. Oh, okay. Then I have to look at the other guy.
Pete, Pete, I have hair everywhere around
Anyway,
my face.
I gotta
You have
go.
literally none. That man with the hair, that's gotta be me.
Yeah.
That's gotta be me.
Wishful thinking again. Again, it's that competition. I see you on the screen, and I'm, gosh dang it.
I will say,
some
your
mean-
beard, you have had a beard for a large portion of the time I've known you. Your beard is legit majestic. It's
Oh,
good. It's
well.
good length, good color, good coverage.
When I get out of the Air Force again, it'll come back. My kids kept asking
Yes.
me once we got into school, can I grow it again? I had to tell them no. Still have to be in the Air Force even though I'm in school.
This is the last thought, and I guess we probably should end. But I got a buddy. He was my roommate, actually. I was in college as a freshman in college when September 11th happened. And my buddy Ben was my roommate. So like this is just context of how long I've known Ben, and also for the terrible nickname we gave him. So when 9/11 happened, we didn't know how to process anything, so we just made terrible jokes about it because we're like, "What horror have we just witnessed? Let's make fun of it. This is the only way to get through it." So Ben's name was Ben Walton, and we started calling him Osama bin Walton.
Oh,
It was-
man. Oh, no.
Ben he's like 2 years away from retiring from the Air Force.
Oh, wow.
And I don't know if I
Cow.
maybe shouldn't call him Osama anymore.
No. Well, what do you think we're going to talk about next time?
That's a great question. I don't even know if I want to, because I can smell you from the computer and it's terrible.
Gosh, come on, man. I'm like 1,500 miles away.
I know, it's that bad. I don't
turn
know.
off the smell-o-vision.
Oh, is that an option? I don't know. I definitely will. I don't know. Tune in next time and find out, I guess. I mean, this was a practice run. So, like, if you are listening to this, either we have made it so big that we're showing you our first episode to show you our humble beginnings, or you're one of 5 people who we're sending this to see if this is any good.
You're right. I think we should, like, say goodbye in, like, 17 languages just to make sure if anybody is there. We won't.
Yeah.
But thank you for whoever is listening. Since,
Yeah. I mentioned Estonian. Do you want to throw some Estonian our way so they can hear the choking Ewok?
Oh, man. No, ma olen väga tänulik, et sa oled kuulnud täna ja ma otsan, et sa oled midagi otstan
Midagi?
sellest. Yeah.
What does midagi
Armastan
mean?
todus. Midagi means something.
Something. Oh,
Yeah,
that's
like-
what does midagi mean? Something. All right, fine. Don't tell me.
I said I hope you guys ma loodun, et sa oled otstan midagi sellest. I hope that you have gotten or bought something from this.
Yeah.
Võta.
And I will say, let's see if you even understand what I'm about to say. Matahin yatis.
Oh, yeah. I want ice cream.
Yep, that's the important stuff.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Cool. Well, thanks everybody. And if this is it, you're never getting that hour back ever again.
Anyway, from a couple men to all the men out there, we love you.
And the women too. We do love the women. That sounded really not the way I meant it to.
Okay,
You know what I mean. We love everybody.
That's fine.
Nah, people need to know we care about everybody. Cool. See yous.
All right, see ya.